Mr. Walker.
Thank you. Ms. Hill beat me to it. I wanted to congratulate Mr. Austin, too, on his receipt of the major award, and we're looking forward to the new lamp in his office. On another note, I want to thank Mr. Alger for coming in and making his comments tonight. When I first got out of law school, I lived and worked in Chicago for legal aid, and I was really appalled, having grown up in beautiful, pristine McHenry County, at the level of corruption that existed in Chicago and Cook County government. And I immediately threw in with some of the groups that were working to end that, like the Better Government Association and the Chicago Council of Lawyers. And we succeeded over the years, they did anyway, in eliminating a lot of that, believe it or not. And unfortunately now it seems to have moved to the suburbs. Mayor Daley was once asked, about nepotism, and he responded, what kind of father would I be if I, didn't help out my family members? But, that may have been funny back in the 1970s, but it's not so funny today. And I think nepotism is a form of corruption. People who engage in nepotism are corrupt. Hiring your spouse is an even worse form of nepotism because it means that you are kicking back another paycheck to yourself. And what is the harm to the public? Well, the harm to the public is that you may hire somebody who's not qualified. You may overpay them. You may allow them to work a second job, and when they're supposed to have a full-time job that they're being paid full-time salary for already, and you don't care because you're getting the income from that one too. It's got to stop. And I think that it can stop. We have 102 counties in Illinois. Each one of them has 7 or 8, constitutionally elected countywide officials, and so the potential, not to mention all the townships, and so the potential for this is enormous. And I would like to call upon Chairman Provenzano in the Legislative Committee to take this up in terms of what we can do to ask our state legislators to introduce legislation to give the boards that oversee these units of local government some type of oversight over this type of hiring and impose the same sort of rules on them that we impose on our own departments here in the county government. Thank you.
Ms. Kurtz?
First off, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Fat Tuesday. I just came from a Fat Tuesday party. I had a really good time. Not too good of a time, but good enough. I also want to congratulate Mr. Austin on his award. You do us proud when you win awards, and people here recognize the value that spreads all over the state with those types of awards being won. I understand that, on a different note, both Mr. Austin and, of course, we heard Chairman Gottemuller tonight talk about how we as a county board need to stay away from the issue of nepotism, and we need to stay away from that issue as a county board, even though as a county board we're being asked to approve various HR kind of activities. We also know from a historical standpoint that HR activities are something that we establish as a kind of a standardized process, and we've worked very hard to have uniformity. So for us to try and dodge the issue of nepotism is very unfortunate. I would call it taking a lack of responsibility for an issue that people in the county and taxpayers in general are really concerned about. One of the things that struck me as I was leaving my Fat Tuesday party was somebody grabbing me and saying, "Hey, I'm really glad you're on the right side of that nepotism issue, Donna. You are doing the right thing, and we are sick of this." all of us in the room, we know people are sick of this. And we as a county board have to take a stand, because I really think that Mr. Walkup was right on target with his comments made regarding nepotism. It's a way to put extra dollars into people's pockets, and that is not right when it's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. The final thing, Mr. Austin, I want to ask you to make sure is that member comments are included on the agenda so that we can hear our comments later. At this point, they are not clickable, and so they cannot be heard later. I believe they're streamed, but later on they're not available. And I think that everyone who makes a comment needs to have that record available from an audio file standpoint. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Evertson.
Thank you. Not to beat a dead horse, but Peter, the county has a policy on nepotism. I understand. And I would appreciate very much if everybody had a printed copy in their mailbox. Secondarily, I note with great interest people who are very much concerned about whether elected members of the board may or may not participate in the meetings, not because of a personal like or dislike, but of course, we got to follow the rules. I will find it very interesting to see what their opinions are about people following the rules as far as county policy as well. Thank you.
Just as one short response, Ms. Kurtz said a moment ago that my comments were to dodge the issue. My comments were to explain the difference between what the county is allowed to do and what responsibilities we're allowed to take when it comes to our elected officials. That is not an endorsement from my end of saying that I approve or, for that matter, disapprove of what various elected officials have done. As far as the section in our policy, if you go to our personal policy manual that was approved August 1st, 2011, it's in section 3.16 concerning employment of relatives. And that's the site you're looking for. If you want a copy from here, I'll be glad to make it available to you after the meeting. Mr. Gosser.
I think everybody likes a copy, Joe.
Okay. I thought everybody had a copy of this employment manual at some point in time in their stuff. But, I know I got one at one point in time when I was that side. But
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 points. The first one is hopefully everybody got their McHenry County 2014 BAC annual report. If you go through and look at that, you're going to see that we have a lot more vets coming back who are needing things. And as someone who came back and didn't need anything right away and then came later, a little later on, realized I had to go to the VA, it's a really important tool. It's not the only tool, but it's one of them that vets can use. And I can tell you that not a lot of vets know about it, actually. So I would hope that all of us as county board members, as we go out and talk to our constituents, just remind them, hey, this is something that's available. I think it's relevant with what's going on here. I served in the military for 20 years, 10 years as an enlisted Navy man, and 10 years as an Air Force officer. And there were some things that are just ingrained in you. You just have it. And they're core values. In the United States Navy, they're honor, courage, and commitment. And in the United States Air Force, they're integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that we do. Finally, I would want to recite for the record the Officer Training School Creed, which is, I will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor will I tolerate among us those who do so. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Did you want to talk? Okay. Okay. All right, never mind. At this point in time, I see no other, Mr. Wheeler, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, want to join in the chime of thanking Mr. Austin for his great service to the county. I think it's a good thing, and I think that we're moving forward in the right direction with your leadership. And I wish you all the well when you receive your award. My comment has to do with this conversation that we're having regarding nepotism. On February 1st, if you look in the BGA's manual, you'll see an article that talks and speaks about nepotism in the state of Illinois. I'm quoted in this article because the municipality, which I previously served on, the village board for 8 years, I lost the election to the now current mayor. At the time, the current mayor had about 2 or 3 family members working for the village of Glendale Heights. The reporter called me up and asked a comment from me as to how I felt about local government officials hiring their family members. I informed him that while by no means is Glendale Heights unique, it's pervasive throughout the entire state without any knowledge of what's going on here in McHenry County. Now, I would urge that Chairman Gottmeier follow through on the recommendations that were made here by the board in terms of directing Mr. Provenzano to work with the Governmental Affairs Committee to come up with a resolution from the state that we can support here in the county. It's not fair to be able to hire someone that is a close member. And if we allowed it to continue, it's going to get worse. The situation that I forgot to tell you in Glendale Heights was that she had 1 or 2 members in, the employment of the village. Now it turns out that there's 5 members of her family, and I refer to them as the Jackson 5. And this could happen here. So I would like to see if we can't do something to curtail this behavior and make it something that no one has to really deal with. And I understand the public's distrust about this, and I want to let the public know that, again, this is something that we, right now, don't have any power and authority over. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.